Shapiro exposes celebrity hypocrisy at the Super Bowl.
Let me just point out who was on the stage last night during the Super Bowl halftime show, because this really did occur to me while I was watching it, is that the NFL has been attempting to get away from the, we are the league that has a lot of criminal convictions routine. They've been attempting to get away from this. And so on the stage, they had Dr. Dre, who has been accused of multiple instances of violence against women, including assault of Dee Barnes, who's convicted in 1991.
Is there a black person that will ever be featured in the media that Ben Shapiro won't pull up their criminal background and criminal records on? That's wild. He's bringing up 30-year-old cases, dude.
Quote, people talk all this bleep, but somebody F's with me, I'm going to F with them. A woman named Michelle, who was the mother of one of his children, accused him of domestic violence. Another woman named Terry B. accused Dre of assaulting her. He was convicted in 1992 of battery of a police officer. He allegedly drove drunk in 1994. And now, he seems to have improved his life pretty dramatically, Dr. Dre, although in 2016, Suge Knight accused Dre of a kill-for-hire plot. But
did Ben Shapiro just quote Suge Knight in his process to vilify Dr. Dre? Ben Shapiro turned around and quoted Suge Knight as an honest broker, a trustworthy source. And his Caucasian audience is, of course, completely unfamiliar with Suge Knight's background. So they have no idea who this person is. So they'll just be like, yeah, that makes sense. Got it. So the only thing that's happened with Dr. Dre in recent years is when Suge Knight, who isn't he in jail right now? That guy that's the reliable orator here.
Let's just say that these are offenses that in sort of a normal world would get you canceled these days, right? Because time is of no limit. When we go back 20, 30 years and find stuff about people and destroy them. But Dr. Dre was leading this off as a great hero of the Republic, and then he had...
Yes, he is defending cancel culture. He's like, why can't we do cancel culture to black people? He's like, it does already happen, motherfucker. It's like when cops just kill black people for no reason. But he's literally like, it's not enough. Systemic racism is not enough. Why can't we also cancel every black person that's ever appeared on television?
Snoop Dogg, who, of course, has been arrested for everything from cocaine possession to first and second degree murder. He was acquitted on those charges, but arrested for them, to drug and firearm possession, to implication in a rape case. He wasn't arrested for that, but there was an implication that he was...
Wait, what? Okay. He's like, it doesn't matter. He was arrested, not convicted, but also doesn't matter. He's still guilty until proven innocent. Except he was proven innocent, but it's still guilty because they thought he was guilty. So, dude, it's obvious. He's literally just like, I don't care. They're black and it scares me, okay? They're black celebrities and it scares me. I don't like it. I don't like what America is coming to. This is just such a fucking dishonest and such a pussy, cowardly fucking way to couch your criticism in like some kind of moral consistency and try to make it seem like you're literally not a fucking racist asshat. We know what the fuck you're doing, Ben. It's very obvious that you are literally looking at the situation where you're like, hey, I don't like it. I don't like that there are famous, cherished black celebrities that are on television doing a halftime show. And I'm going to act like there's a difference in like canceling white people versus black people. Literally creating an argument that it's okay if you do cancel culture when someone's black.
Involved. He was last arrested in 2012 for possession. And Snoop Dogg, of course, is now a hero of our culture. And by the way, in January, he cut a song that included the following lyrics. And I know it's always a risk when I read lyrics, so we're going to take this slowly. Okay, this is the following lyric. It was in January of this year. Quote, all you N-words out there, take your guns that you're using to shoot each other and start shooting these bitch-ass MFing police. That'll impress a MFing N-word like me. That was like January. And here he is in the biggest cultural event in America in February, right, rapping at the center of the stage at the behest of a major American corporation. You got 50 Cent up there, who was arrested in 94 for cocaine trafficking, in 2003 for...
Dude, I love Snoop Dogg. What a G, dude. Holy shit.
Criminal possession of a weapon. For battery in 2004 for jumping into a crowd to go after a person who threw a water bottle at him. In 2013 for 5 criminal charges, including one count of domestic abuse, domestic violence. And normally this stuff sort of gets you... I thought that this was bad. I thought that, even according to the left, I thought this stuff was bad. No? Not so much? You have Eminem, right? Who famously was sort of pre-canceled because of all of his lyrics, including ones about violence against his ex-wife and about raping his mom and about stabbing gay people. All of that sort of stuff is in his lyrics. But then he said that he didn't like Trump, and that of course, fixes everything. And of course, he was arrested twice in 2000 on gun charges. So you have to admire the power of the American capitalist system to ingest.
Dude, wait, he's literally bringing up people's like records from 20 fucking years ago. Like, he's not even trying. Literally just like bringing up shit that people did 20 years ago, bringing up records 20 years ago. Like, yeah, of course, this doesn't fucking mean anything. Him attacking Trump has nothing to do with the reason why Eminem is like, I mean, first of all, I don't even like old Eminem. I mean, new Eminem. But it's been fucking 22 years, dog. If you're bringing that shit, like, the statute of limitation is gone, you know? That halftime show was great, though. I was definitely soy-facing. I like the nostalgia shit.
All of this radical stuff and then just vomit it back out as commercial selling stuff, as the product that normal Americans will consume. It really is an amazing, amazing thing. I thought the best example of this last night was Eminem. So Eminem, he kneels for a full minute in the middle of this halftime show. And he just kneels and puts his hand on his head for a full minute, right, to demonstrate that he is in touch with the Black Lives Matter movement and with the needs of Black people. And it's so funny how the media pretend that this is somehow controversial now. This is it's so funny. So Eminem does this. And Deadline runs.
Okay, but like, it's not, and I agree, but you're still making it feel like it is. Like, I don't think it's controversial. The media doesn't really think it's controversial either, for the most part, but you're the one who's like making it seem like it is controversial. If you didn't fucking complain about this, no one would think it's controversial.
Runs an entire piece, Deadline Hollywood. They run this entire piece. The NFL must have been shocked at this, shocked. And then the NFL came out with a statement. And their statement was, oh no, he did this during rehearsal. We knew like the whole time that he was going to do this. So just to understand what the NFL did here. In 2016, Colin Kaepernick, a backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers who'd been benched for the immortal Blaine Gabbert because he sucks, he knelt for the national anthem on the basis, by the way, of a police shooting that apparently was justified. And this is after he wore socks that compared police to pigs and all of this. And this created a massive national...
God, what a pussy. I can't deal with this dude. He's like, the annoying part about this, the annoying part about it is like, he's such a bitch. Like, he's crying about, yeah, Matt Gaetz, 3 DUI arrests since 2014. Obviously, that's acceptable. Obviously, that's really totally fine and valid because Matt Gaetz is white and also a Republican. Okay? So that's fine. This is a conversation about like leftists, liberals, whoever Ben perceives as liberals, and Black people who are always, of course, automatically perceived as liberals unless they are like openly in support of Donald Trump. Putting a 13-minute video like this is it's actually kind of cool. Like, he's actually putting more effort into this content of like being racist than I ever will be able to put into my content. You know what I mean? Johnny Cash went to jail. Tons of country singers went to jail. They've even written songs about doing crimes and abusing substances. He's framing it as an issue that only pertains to rap music. Look at the trajectory of rock music in this country, going from radical music to commercial music meant to sell something. This is the stupidest take. The sole purpose is to make the racist connotation rap/black equals crime/bad. Yes.
Controversy, right? The NFL got engulfed in it. Now, fast forward 6 years, and Eminem is kneeling for a full minute on the stage to the NFL's approval. The NFL is making money off the kneeling now. That's the power of capitalism, guys. It's so funny. The left thinks that they own the culture, and to a certain extent they do. Because when corporations ingest leftism and then spew it back out in a sort of sanitized form, people still ingest leftism in a sanitized form. But
he admits it, like, you know, being a leftist is antithetical to capitalism. Got it. Okay. Agreed. Corporations are commoditizing and co-opting like radical, sometimes revolutionary actions and movements and turning it into nothing, a shell of what it once was. That's true. This is true.
There is something very, very humorous about the NFL, which was targeted with these protests. Now taking the protests, spinning them around and making cash off of them. There's something really highly hilarious about that. I mean, and this is the message, by the way, from, I would say, the mainstream political left. The mainstream political left will take radical messaging, they will ingest it, they will sanitize it, and then they will spew it back out there for money, which is why you saw in the end zone, and the NFL has been doing this for the last year, really since the Black Lives Matter stuff cropped up over George Floyd's, almost 2 years. They started putting at the end zone the words end racism on one side, and it takes all of us on the other, which of course ends racism.
I mean, that's hilarious. Exactly. It's dumb as fuck. But like, the people that are doing that are not leftists. They're corporations. And he's right, but he still gets triggered by it. So what's wrong with you? Like, I've never met someone who recognizes that this is transparent pandering for mega corporations like the NFL to make more money, or at least sanitize their imagery, while still absolutely exploiting the fuck out of like new era gladiators that are comprised 70% of black workers for the you know, that's the demographics of the league. And yet he still turns around and is like, I'm still triggered by it. It's like, he doesn't even want to see that. He knows it's bullshit. He knows it's aesthetic pandering. And he still doesn't want to see it. That even aesthetic pandering, God forbid, is horrifying and unacceptable for Ben Shabibo.
I mean, as we all know, if there's one thing that ends racism in the United States, it is putting the words end racism at the back of the end zone in an NFL game, because there are tons of just vicious white racists who are watching the NFL game. And until now, they're ready to go burn a cross on their black neighbor's lawn. But now they saw the words end racism at the back of the end zone. They're like, oh man, F racism. Racism's the worst now. I saw it said end racism in the back of the end zone. Roger Goodell tells me it's time to end race. And not only that, it takes all of us. Racism ended. Or alternatively, these corporations are playing you. If you're a radical leftist and you think that these people are your friends, they are playing you.
What radical leftist thinks the NFL is a moral organization that is like in support of genuine leftist causes? Who's he talking to? I find myself asking this question all the time. Whenever I'm watching a Ben Shabibo video, I'm like, who's he talking to? Who are these people that he is supposedly like leading away from being duped by the NFL?
And by the way, if you're on the right and you think these corporations are your friends, they're not. They're willing to use whatever is at hand. If they feel like they can make a buck off the woke by mirroring woke messaging, they will. They have no principles. They don't care. It's all about just making the money for them. That's all.
You know what's funny though? If they do, like, when corporations do come out with like one of those like pandering aesthetic fucking bullshit on the right, like whenever they turn around and do that for like right-wing causes, and it doesn't happen regularly, but when it does happen, you know his bitch ass is soy facing. Like, oh my God, oh, the libs are really on today. You know what I mean? But like, you just want more corporations that pander to you. That's it. Like, you don't have any sort of like real, valid, or even like any sort of consistent criticism on corporations pandering to social justice movements or co-opting the social justice movements. You literally went to fucking Home Depot and you bought a piece of wood. You're like, oh, I love Home Depot. I'm going to buy a piece of wood here because I'm so manly. I love Chick-fil-A. It's like, dude, you just want, like, you are just as much a fat piece of shit, a fucking hog, just as the rest of them. Okay? Every American is the same. Every American is just a fucking couch potato. And all we know and all we can do is basically just engage in a fucking battle over what our commodity choices are, what our commodity consumption means, okay, about our identity. That's it. These are the cultural signifiers.
And the Democratic Party is the same way. So right before the Super Bowl, Joe Biden went on national TV because we have this dumb tradition where the president of the United States hijacks this giant cultural event and does these interviews. By the way, I love the fact that we are still social distancing. So we've got Joe Biden sitting 83 feet away from Lester Holt. Before the Super Bowl, both of them octuple vaxxed, 70% of their body weight made up the vax at this point. And by the way, everybody unmasking. And Joe Biden then decides that he's going to rip on the NFL. Now, you think the NFL's upset about this? The NFL isn't upset about this one iota because the NFL will find a way to make money off of this, which is why you have Roger Goodell saying, oh, yeah, of course we're racist. Of course. Also, if black Americans, if you could give us more of your money, in fact, we'll have a halftime show featuring many of your favorite artists, as long as you keep giving us more of your money. If we say we're racist, will you give us more of your money? So Joe Biden is this for the Democratic Party. His policies can be as bad for black Americans as he wants them to be. And his policies are indeed crappy for black Americans. His inflation is hitting black Americans harder than it is hitting white Americans. The unemployment that will likely follow, an increase in the interest rate, will be worse for black Americans than it will for white Americans.
Why?
He doesn't care about that. He cares about making a buck.
Wait, why? Why, Ben? Perhaps there's a systemic reason for it, right? Why, Ben? Why is inflation hitting black Americans harder than white Americans, Ben? Wait a fucking minute. All of a sudden, Ben Shapiro, when it comes down to criticizing Joseph Robinette Biden, a Democratic president, aka Jim Crow Joe, recognizes that black people are fucked harder by the administration's actions, by the consequence of a capitalist economic organization of society coming harder down on those who are already in dire circumstances. What the fuck? I would love to ask, like, what do you mean by that, Ben? What do you mean? You're talking about inflation hitting black Americans harder. What does that mean? Are you perhaps saying, by and large, that black Americans are in a worse financial situation overall than white Americans? And then I would love to ask him, like, why do you think that's the case? You know, how do we get there?
Which is why he goes around on the road saying that all of his political opponents are people who would have been Jim Crow racists back in the day. Because if he mirrors the messages you want him to mirror, will you love him? So here is Joe Biden ripping on the NFL for its supposed racism and not having more black coaches. Says Joe Biden, who goes around bragging about how he worked with segregationists in the 60s and 70s. Like, really, it's amazing stuff. Here's the president of the United States with Lester Holt.
But Ben likes segregationists. What the fuck? Why is he acting like he's anti-segregation? I'm willing to bet there's video out there of Ben Shapiro literally praising Joe Biden for being like not as crazy as the woke mob, and even pointing out the fact that he's worked with like crazy segregationists, even maybe not segregationists by name, but regularly fucking has collaborated with. I mean, Ben likes the apartheid state of Israel and will fucking defend it, but that's different. You know what I mean? We're talking about American segregationists.
A league that is made up of so many athletes of color as well as so diverse that there's not enough African-American qualified coaches to manage these NFL teams. It just seems to me that it's a standard that they'd want to live up to.
An old white man is telling you that the NFL is super duper racist. Yeah, that's great. And by the way, Roger Goodell doesn't care. He didn't care. As long as you keep pumping that money into his pocket, he does not care. And neither does Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't care about any of this stuff. Just vote for him and give him your money. And keep voting for him as 90% block if you're black, and he'll be a happy camper. He doesn't care about any of these messages. It's ridiculous. It's really stupid. By the way,
okay, I'm so confused. Like, he's not wrong, but like, does Ben know who he is? Like, he's not wrong about Joe Biden. He's not wrong about Roger Goodell, but you can't then turn around and complain about it then, dude. It's so weird. He's like, all of these people are corporations and they don't actually care about black people. But then even the aesthetic pandering is like incredibly offensive for him. Like, is he yelling at them to do better? Like, is Ben literally saying like, these people don't care. What they should actually be doing is solving the material problems that African Americans are subjected to as a consequence of, chattel slavery and systemic racism, and, what happened in the Jim Crow South and what happened in redlining and even in the Jim Crow North, as a matter of fact. America has a lot of sins to live up to. Like, that's not what Ben is saying. He's not going to turn around and be like, and these corporations need to do better. They need to actually put their money, not proverbially, but literally where their mouth is. And instead of funding police departments while throwing up the Black Lives Matter fist, hypothetically, what if these community movers and shakers, what if these gigantic mega corporations were hypothetically lobbying the government to make sure that reparations bill passes? That's not Ben's position. Ben's position is that like systemic racism doesn't exist and these corporations are just using it as a fucking talking point. And even if he recognizes that there's a talking point there that they're using, he's offended by it even being a fucking talking point that they mentioned. This entire video is, I know these corporations are aesthetically pandering to radical ideas and co-opting and commoditizing them because all they care about is profit, because that's capitalism, baby. But even then, despite knowing that it's bullshit, I'm still gonna get mad at it. Incredibly strange person.
I'm just going to point out this as well. Remember, Donald Trump was very, very bad. He was very bad. He commented on Colin Kaepernick. He said he shouldn't kneel for the national anthem, and that made him terrible. Why would he even comment on cultural events like this? Why would he get involved in the culture wars, Donald Trump? Democrats have been there for 50 years in the middle of the culture wars. There's Joe Biden commenting on the NFL.
That's bullshit. No one said, why is Donald Trump getting involved in a culture wars? Everyone said Donald Trump is personally using the bully pulpit to make demands of a private corporation that should punish a person who is an anti-racist activist. No one said Donald Trump shouldn't be dealing with the culture. They said he shouldn't be dealing with the culture the way that he is. Republicans literally do culture war all day, every day. It's so stupid. Wait, hold on. We're not done yet. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions, back-to-back take champions. That's right, folks. It's Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk responded to the viral tweet on Super Bowl halftime show, only made viral by people like myself and pretty much everyone on the internet dunking on it. Famously said, I ratioed him when I said, like, his sexual anarchy tweet implied that he was bricked up at the fucking Super Bowl halftime show watching Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Also, incredible fucking video from Charlie where the quality is 360p. Like, this is a multi-million-dollar organization, and the maximum quality they can have on their uploads for this organization is incredible, dude. There is no one more based than my fucking woke king Charlie Kirk. He quite literally steals money from incredibly wealthy American industry giants. There is nothing, you guys will fucking shit on him all day, every day. Say he has a tiny face. Say he's ugly as fuck. I'm sorry. Have you stolen money from billionaires? Like, literally stolen money under the false pretense that you're going to, radicalize the American children into fascist ideas. No. Only billionaire you steal money from is Jeffrey Bezos when you subscribe to me with a Twitch Prime. And you do that at the top of the hour to no longer see the ad breaks. Let's take a look at what he had to say about the sexual anarchy at the halftime show.
Attacked for protecting the innocence of children, then I'm right over the target. I've had a great last 18 hours. I mean that. It's just so much fun when you like trigger the people on Twitter because you say something that's true. And so the Super Bowl is...
He's like, I love triggering the people of Twitter by saying something so fucking profoundly stupid that everybody unites in dunking on me.
Yesterday, I told everyone not to watch the Super Bowl halftime show, and I had no plans to, so I took my dog out, and I came back in, and there was like 50 Cent coming from the ceiling with some scantily dressed girls in some incredibly provocative positions. And again, I encourage anyone to watch those like 30 to 45 seconds of 50 Cent and tell me like, oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, sure, that's what a 6-year-old should see. And look, I grade the Super Bowl halftime show for good reason in a much more family-friendly direction than if it was like HBO Max or some sort of late-night television special, obviously.
My favorite point was, it's unacceptable. You go and watch the first 40 seconds of that incredibly sexy fucking video where Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is looking so provocative. It's like, bro, if it's not allowed, then why are you urging your fucking psychotic boomer fan base to go watch it? Are you trying to give them aneurysms? So based. Oh my God, dude. What a king. He's literally trying to kill his reactionary old fascist fan base, dude. You guys don't understand, dude. What a fucking G. What a god. What a god. He literally trying to murder his fascist fan base. Trying to give him aneurysms, dude. But you guys don't fucking get it. He's like, watch how sexy this is. Watch how fucking hard 50 Cent will get you. You will have uncontrollable boners.
Some sort of late-night television special, obviously. And look, there were 15 to 20 million children watching. Any sort of estimate. Under the age of 12.
Bro, dude, that Super Bowl halftime show is literally the most tame Super Bowl halftime show I've ever seen. What the fuck? What does he want? Like, what is he upset about? Like, dude, luckily, children, even like most young children, are more experienced than you are about like, I don't know, just women being in front of the camera. Because I can't even bring myself up to say like they're sexual, because they're not. I don't understand. What happens when a kid sees the Super Bowl halftime show? Was Charlie Kirk never a child? These are questions I have. Was he built in a laboratory where they tried to experiment with like how tiny a face can get on such a large dome, where he is the unfortunate freak lab accident. So of course he had no childhood where he ever encountered a woman in front of the camera. Anyway, let's continue with this.
It's network TV. And look, in all fairness, the Super Bowl halftime show is almost always kind of a, let's just say, celebration of degeneracy. And some people say, oh, Charlie, this wasn't as bad as it was in prior years. I never made that comparison. I was simply...
Bro, how... Dude, the conservative movement is dying, dude. What is happening? I mean, they're so powerful, but it's wild that, like, they just can't... They've lost their grip on entertaining commentary. Like, this guy's literally doing the town from Footloose. Like, that's his political position here. Like, dancing should be disbarred. Dancing should be illegal. Like, what is happening right now? He's just, like, literally upset that people are dancing, okay? Women frolicking about. Gallivanting. Unacceptable. Degeneracy. Like, what are you, a fucking conservative in the 16th century? Women wearing pants? That's Satan's doing, my friend. I don't know why I have a transatlantic accent for the 16th century, but you know what I mean.
Judging and talking about 50 Cent's coming in, and I'm not going to read the lyrics on air. I mean, but come on. If you read In the Club by 50 Cent, I think that all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, that's not meant for network TV. And look, our culture has fallen.
Dude. Cancel culture warriors are now turning around and they're literally doing Tipper Gore, Nancy Reagan, Hillary Clinton shit. Like, cancel culture Andes are like, In the Club should not be made for mass consumption. That's awesome.
So far that we are making excuses for women literally bent over toward.
Someone in the chat brought up something really good. He said, where is this criticism for the cheerleaders? This racist piece of shit. My lord, you are so right. Why do they not have the same energy for the cheerleaders? Is it because they are overwhelmingly white and, cheerleading is like Americana? Whereas black people being able to have autonomy and, sing and dance and make their own money from their own music, that's unacceptable. Is that what's going on?
Someone sent me a message. Oh, Charlie, I do that move in the Super Bowl all the time. What, you mean the long snapper when he snaps for the field goal? Or the long snapper for the punt? Or do you mean the woman in the halftime show? And so, look, I take this all in stride. I love the criticism. It's terrific. And by the way, I got criticism from every direction. It's fine. And we have really short memories when Snoop Dogg literally had a film where he tried to kill Donald Trump or Eminem doing whatever he did. I'm not even talking about that. My main point, and I will continue to use my platform in good cheer to do this, is the protection of the innocence of children is a basic societal good. That's
what?
It. It's not about trying to play some sort of moral referee. What I tweeted was very, very clear.
No, you are doing that. You're literally saying I'm just simply trying to protect the moral innocence of children, and I'm not a moral referee. Is just saying you're a moral referee, but you're not a moral referee. Like you just described being the moral referee twice, and then said you're not that.
And it went totally viral. The NFL is now the league of sexual anarchy. This performance should not be allowed on television. The only change I would make is I should say it should not be allowed on network television. That's all I was saying. I'll probably tweet the exact same thing next year. And people said, well, it wasn't as bad as J-Lo and Shakira. I don't care if it's as bad as J-Lo and Shakira. I was judging what I was watching. Look, Twitter's not real life. AOC came and attacked me because somehow I'm defending the innocence of children against scantily clad women that are bent over like a long snapper. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Look, the Super Bowl halftime show has a reputation. People say it's a spicy program. Okay, listen. Spicy, it's supposed to be boundary pushing. When you have the most televised event, this is true, most televised event for the entire year, one of the most televised events on the planet, by the way, that should be a reflection of the virtue that hopefully you want society to embody. And I'm not even getting into the whole kind of rap lyrics and all that. I think that's a fine argument. But you isolate that 45-second thing with 50 Cent, there is no one that could say, you know what? I think my 8-year-old should just sit down and watch that. And to a lot of parents' great credit, they turned it off and they made the kids go out of the room for the halftime.
I don't understand. What are the women dancing is not a boundary, dude. You don't ride horses anymore. You know what I mean? We're not in 1874 where a dancing woman, what are you, a prostitute? That's not what is going on. What he literally said, women dancing. This is unacceptable. What am I seeing? Is that an ankle eye spot from afar? Am I seeing a strand of hair? For the record, and I don't know if this is true or not, Charlie Kirk apparently has a wife. Is this real? By the way, Charlie Kirk has a wife, and I don't even have a girlfriend. So that's one thing that I must remind everybody that no matter how much I call him a turbo virgin, it's whatever. I mean, turbo virgin is a mindset. I am still the turbo virgin here in this circumstance. Okay, I'm just gonna point that out. Whatever. I'll take that L. I'll take that fucking L. Oh, here's Charlie Kirk's wife, right? Her name is Erica Franzve. What's going on here? So Charlie Kirk's wife does modeling. He literally married a fucking model, like a beauty pageant woman. Which, by the way, I mean, she's hot. Good for Charlie, What a fucking god. What a G. What a legend. What a legend. But dog, your wife is at the Trump golfing event, dude. Frolicking about. What's happening, Not that there is any issue with this, for the record. There is none. She's hot. She should be able to do this. I think it's great. I'm a fan. I am actually a big fan of Charlie Kirk's wife. But also, don't you consider this to be sexual anarchy too? What's up? Is it okay? Maybe I need to get into conservative grifting. Sag. Anyway, let's continue.
But the NFL had multiple rehearsals. They saw that kind of dancing. They saw that type of behavior. It was a production of the NFL. There's no distance of it. And they think that's perfectly fine. And for that, I think it's reprehensible. And for all the attacks, bring it on. Are you kidding me? If I get attacked for protecting the innocence of children,
Dude, he's awesome, dude. He's awesome. Like, he's gotten millions of fucking dollars, millions of dollary dues, right? Do nothing. Like, he just literally does an operation that I'm able to fucking do on my own for like 8 hours a day with like way, way less success. It's awesome, dude. He literally gets millions and millions of dollars in donations every year from the richest motherfuckers on the planet, and I can still do it in 1080p. I'm pushing P out here.